Hi guys, it's Bunch here, and today I wanted to bring y'all a bit of a different video because, as you can see, we're 40 minutes away from the end of the season, and I am just around the corner of top 500. I don't know if I'm gonna be top 500. It depends on how many people above me take defenses and get below me. So, it's pretty close right now, but there's still 40 minutes left, so I think I have a chance. But that's not what we're gonna talk about in this video. I have first two things. So, my defense on this account has been pretty lucky the past 2 days. And that's the reason why I got so high, right? It's just my defense. Like, plus 49, plus 27, that's just crazy. And a lot of people have asked me to share some baselines that have done well for me. And just one thing about that, if you look at my defenses, most of the fails have been from people that are low in trophies. Like, this guy's only at 5745. This guy's at 5859. That's like nowhere near top 1000 or top 2000 even. So, getting defenses now really just depends on matchmaking and how many low accounts get to attack you. Like 5835, 5750, right? This guy failed on me with E-Drags. He's higher than me. I don't know how he failed, but he did. And guess my base worked well. So yeah. So the point I'm trying to make is, no base is guaranteed to have good defense. A lot of people that get good results just get attacked by a lot of accounts like these that are noobs and don't know what they're doing. So that's what I have to say about defense. But now the main point of this video is to show y'all some attacks I did over the past 2 days. Because if you want to gain trophies, you still have to be consistent on offense too. So I'm gonna start from here because this attack is far from normal, okay? This is looking like kind of a defensive style base, and before I begin the attack, I want to show you some important things about this account. It's not quite as leveled as my main account. Like, I have Gauntlet at 23 and Fireball at 20. I did upgrade my Fireball to 23 today. So I still need 2 Earthquake spells. So I took out a freeze for an Earthquake on this account. If you have max Fireball, then you only need 1 Earthquake. But another important thing is, I did end up putting the Unicorn on the Warden. I think this is working better than the Frosty or the Poison Lizard. And the Frosty is going with the Queen now. And I did switch out the Frozen Arrow to the Healer Puppet because now that the Unicorn's not on the Queen anymore, the Queen doesn't have any healing on her. So I feel like, because it's just so important to keep the Queen alive, I feel like Healer Puppet is just needed if you're not running the Unicorn on the Queen. So that's about what I have to say. We're gonna just jump into the attack right here. Let's fast forward to see when we do the Warden Walk. I did think for a while here. Let's see. Come on. Okay, there you go. So, yeah, I wanted to hit the single, but it didn't work. So I ended up getting about half of the value that I was getting. And the Warden was taking damage because of this X-Bow and all the point defenses. So I had to send the Druids and Queen early. Now, because I wanted the Queen to just skip the Town Hall and go left, so I sent the Log Launcher in to try to snipe the Town Hall. But things are going south here because there's a Tesla, there's Rocket Loons and Super Minions. I had to spend 2 invis and the Queen ability here. I thought I was done for. This was my last detective yesterday. I already thought I was done for. Now, luckily, the Warden doesn't wander off with the Super Minions here. And he follows the Queen and Super Witches. So now at this point, I was like, okay, I need the queen to join forces with the super witches, so I wall break the junction here. And because I knew the queen was probably about to die soon, I didn't use the king to funnel. I instead chose to send the king with the main force. So that's an adjustment I had to think of on the fly. Right here, I was for sure the queen was about to die, but the druid's splash actually kept her alive for a little longer. And the jump on the junction just allows everything to just go in the core, right? But the problem is, the core buildings were far from the king by now. So the king doesn't go to the core, he ends up being on a wall. And I knew this monolith was going to be annoying for my troops, so I sent a skelly spell and the RC for it. The queen's just about to die here. King is being on a wall because those buildings at the core are so far away from him. RC gets targeted for a bit, but the fox makes her invisible. She ends up taking the monolith before it does too much damage. And she's fighting these skellies while there's no damage on her, so that's good. And I still have the keen ability. I still have the RC ability and a rage and a freeze. The witches come back somehow. They don't die because the druids just keep healing them. I sent 2 wall breaks for the king, but he ends up going outside the base anyway. So I raged and freezed the RC, and with the swarm of hogs, she ends up finishing the base. So, what an insane recovery, am I right? What an insane recovery. That's about it for this attack. I thought for sure that I was about to fail. But I made those adjustments with the king, with the jump, with the wall breaker, to get all the troops together. And I got the RC to survive until the end of the attack, and she ended up clearing the entire base in time. So, yeah, stressful attack. What can I say? Alright, okay, so let's move on to the next attack. This one was the first attack today. So, as you can see, my fireball's still at 20. I haven't leveled it up yet. You treat a level 20 fireball the same way you treat a level 27 fireball. If there are any builder huts on things like the CC or Monolith, you have to time the fireball correctly in order to actually take them down. Like if the builder gets some shots on the CC, then the CC does not go down. So, but what I ended up doing here was something completely different. On any usual attack, I would have fireballed the eagle and got the CC, but I saw that I didn't have any good pathing to this Expo or ricochet cannon, so I ended up opting for a different approach. So what I did was I fireballed the scatter, because I got the queen, I got the ricochet cannon, so now I just send my troops from the top side, because if I go into this middle compartment, I can reach everything from here. So that's what I ended up doing, king for funneling. Now, if you have the spiky ball leveled up, then I actually do recommend using it on the king, because you're sending the king on the outside for funneling most of the time. What I do with the king, though, because I have the gauntlet, I about always just wall break him into the base at some point. So I utilize the gauntlet's full potential there by actually making him suey into the base. So I lock launcher here to make sure that I make my way into the compartment. I probably didn't need it. I probably could have used the siege bears because I only needed one jump to get into the center. But I used it anyway, and with these rage tower compartments, you just need to manage your spells properly. Use the invis and freeze at the correct times, and your troops gonna stay alive. Now, because I only have 6 druids, they're gonna run out at about this point in the attack. That's why it's so important for the RC to clear the rest of the base. I took out the 2 druids from Itsu's original army with 8 druids because I felt like there just wasn't enough cleanup, right? There was like two wizards, and I didn't want the risk of time failing at all. So that's why I added some more cleanup, and I did add the ice golem, which I think is good because if you're going into early damage, right, it can really help with freezing. And sometimes the druids actually heal the ice golem, and the ice golem dies in the core, which is even better. So yeah, that's that attack. Pretty simple plan. Lock launcher probably wasn't even needed because I only needed 1 jump to actually reach the town hall. So yeah, let's go to the next attack right here. Now, strange looking base, but I came up with a pretty good plan on it, I think. From the onset, it doesn't seem like there's too good fireball value, but all you really need is to think about the pathing for the witches, you know? So what I ended up doing here was I sent the warden, and I'm gonna invis once, and I get the ricochet cannon, the expo, and the poison tower. That way I can start my troops into this scatter shot and keen the funnel out there. Now, I could have used the flinger over here after the fireball was done, but I didn't notice it. I didn't notice all the flinger value by the time that it already happened. So if you want to send a flinger, I feel like you have to send it with the warden at the beginning, because like as you can see here, there's already 1:30 left in the attack, and a flinger's lifetime is only like 1:30 seconds. So it's not gonna get the value that you really need unless you send it at the beginning of the attack. Now the key does a pretty good job here at clearing things out. The ice golems do stall my witches, but it's not a big problem because there's no damage on them. The gauntlet splash gets the monolith, and the king takes down the enemy queen as well. Very clutch. Again, 2 druids at a time. There's a lot of damage now, and they're in the poison as well, so I decide to invis everything. I played things very safe today because, I mean, it's the last day of the season, and, well, I need all the trophies I can get, so I need to make sure I 3-star every base. So, RC from top side, RC from bottom side, it didn't really matter. She was going to clear the rest of the base no matter what. So yeah, pretty clinical attack, was well executed. And that's about it. Let's go on to the next attack right here. And this is a pretty burnt base from an older season. I'm not sure why people are still using it, but they must be having some success with it. So I'm not complaining because this base is really easy for super witches because of how easy it is to snipe the town hall with the warden, right? So first of all, obviously, an archer to test for traps. You don't use you don't use a barbarian. You don't use a barbarian because the barbarian has less range than the warden. So the barbarian will actually pull Teslas that the warden can't. Now, I didn't fireball instantly because I wanted the warden to clear these gold storages. That way, when he hits the town hall, he locks onto the town hall sooner. Now, I did end up sending my fireball a bit early, and so it hits this builder hut instead of the town hall. But that's fine because, well, he's gonna get the town hall anyway. But look at what the fireball hit. It hit the clan castle, the ricochet cannon. If I had knew that was gonna happen, then I would have adjusted my earthquakes, especially to get to town hall. But it was a bit too late. Now I do have my fireball at 23 here, so the timing is a bit more lenient when you have 2 earthquakes. So, after that, you just send the queen. Sometimes you let the queen pick a side, and when you're sure that she's going on to a side, you send the wall break. And make sure you have the funnel set for the super witches. Now, the unfortunate thing here is the queen pulls a CC, and there's a headhunter, so I had to invis her. It's not too big of a deal. And the king ends up going inside the base, which is unfortunate. Because I would have much rather hit funnel for the troops, because you don't need that much force in the core. Now, if you notice, well, I can't hold the replay back, but I sent a barbarian in front of the siege barracks to make the expo distracted onto it and the Tesla distracted onto the barbarian. Because if you send the siege barracks in range of defenses like these, then they're gonna end up locking onto the siege barracks and not the troops itself. So you're gonna end up getting less wizards out of it. So that's why the barbarians can be useful sometimes. So yeah, 2 wall breaks to get the troops inside the base, 1 wall break for the siege barracks. Jump to give them as much access as they can. Because I'm not worrying about the town hall poison. Sometimes you don't have to give the troops access to the town hall compartment because you don't want them to stand in the poison. But the town hall doesn't matter here, so it's good to give the smash as much access as they can, so that they don't end up beating on walls afterward. So I sent honestly at the bottom because with the rest of the troops, because there was already tanking there. So it ends up being pretty smooth cruising through the rest of the base. That's about it. Still out of a freeze for the RC. And yeah, she ends up surviving till the end as usual. Alright, next attack. This one is a base that's pretty popular right now. And there's seemingly not too much fireball value, but again, all you gotta worry about is the pathing of the troops. Now, admittedly, things did go a bit south here. Now, I'll show you why. To invis, to set up the fireball, I wanted to hit the exo so it can get the ricochet cannon and the multi, but the fireball ends up going to the cannon instead. Now, it does really look like the expo is closer to me, so I'm not sure how that happened. I should have dropped the warden a bit far right because I had a bit more room there. But part of me just didn't want the expo to lock onto the warden, so that's why I sent him a bit further left. And it ended up being just barely to left. But now let's see how I was able to recover this. So now it looks like, okay, there's not too much damage on the warden. So I just thought to myself, okay, I can just let the warden walk make the funnel that I need. Now the unicorn made me able to delay the druids for a bit. But there ended up being 2 expos locked on to my warden anyway, so I had to invest a invis onto him. So because the druids were about to run out and I didn't want to waste more time, I ended up just not getting this expo. I am just starting with the witches. The expo does kill a druid, but it could have been worse. It could have killed my entire warden. So again, smash in here. Siege barracks and keen for funneling. I always get my key inside the base to clear out a compartment. I always silly the king somewhere, because I really just wanted to make use of that giant gauntlet. And I ended up putting the jump on a junction because the king can join back, and I'm giving my witches maximum access to the base. So the CC came out at a pretty convenient time. Team does its job, and there's a lot of damage in the core. See, the ice golem froze in the core because the druids were healing it. That's what I was talking about earlier, how the ice golem can be so much of a help. And because I didn't use my earthquakes earlier, I just damaged all the abilities in the core so they could take them down faster. Now what I think is good sometimes too is if you just really don't need the earthquakes, then maybe you can hit a wall with the earthquake so your troops can be on the wall and get through the walls faster. But again, this is fine too, and the key ends up joining back with the rest of the troops, and I ended up putting a skelly spell for the RC by the ricochet cannon. Now you really have to be careful if you send your RC to a ricochet cannon, because the ricochet cannon has the most potential to kill an RC. A lot of ricochet cannons are gonna be baited. They're gonna put Teslas, giant bombs, spring traps, skelly traps by the ricochet cannons because they know that that's the most dangerous area for a royal champion, and it might not seem like it, so it's gonna catch people off guard. I'm gonna make another video on some bases that defended well, and again, I mentioned this earlier in the video. They aren't gonna guarantee you to get defenses at top legends, at high legends, because of just the luck factor of those lower trophy players attacking you. But people want to know what bases did well for me, and I'm gonna oblige and I'm gonna share them some. So again, the RC ended up finishing the rest of the base, so I still tripled despite failing the fireball. Now we got through 4 of the attacks from today, so let's just quickly check my rank again. 511, so a bit closer. We have like 18 minutes. Maybe I'll get there. Maybe I'll get top 500. I'm not gonna complain if I don't, though, because this season has like far exceeded my expectations, you know, because I wasn't top 1,000 2 days ago. That plus 49 put me at what, 800 something, 700 something. So just getting here has been just pretty lucky, you know. I can't complain about that. So next attack. Now again, this base, there doesn't seem to be too much fireball value. I feel like most people that use this army are gonna want to fireball the scatter or eagle, but I thought that leaving the town hall over here for last was so risky, because you need to invest all 3 of your wall breaks in order to get the jump into the town hall, and I just didn't want to leave the town hall up for last. I also have a record of never getting a 1-star with Super Witch. You can check my stats with the Legend League bot or whatever. I have never gotten a 1-star with Super Witches. So that's also like a chip on my shoulder or whatever. So I ended up doing something unexpected. I attempted to fireball the town hall because, well, I would get the town hall and a monolith, but I knew the warden wasn't gonna take out the town hall by himself because it's so far into the base, right? So now you'll see what I ended up doing. The fireball goes as planned. The town hall's already low. There's no builders on it. So what you can do is send a log launcher to finish off the town hall. 1,000 IQ. I know, right? And I do have the super minions inside the CC because, well, usually you use a siege barracks or flinger, and it just helps so much with cleanup, you know, because they can reach over walls and do a lot of things. And I do the entry as usual. I really I just needed this jump for the core because this is wide open. I can use the rest of the wall breakers for the king, and the king does get some nice value over there. And again, just spell management in the core. You have rages, you have freezes, you have invis. Now, I'm not a fan of those armies that use 3 rages because I feel like those freezes and invises are just so much more important for the witches, because I mean, another reason is I only have 6 druids. I'm not gonna have that much healing on them, so I don't have too much things to rage. If you send your druids maybe like at 3 at a time, then I see why you would want to rage, because the rage actually does a lot if you have maybe like 3 druids killing your troops. But I only run 6 druids. I'm a bit more conservative with them, so I feel like I don't need as many rages. I know a lot of people that run fireball armies with only 2 invis, but I feel like a lot of the times the 3rd invis is needed, and it just makes me feel more secure. Like, I have more flexibility with the fireball, right? So, this base looks a bit tough because, again, the town hall is way over here, and I didn't like the risk of the far side entry and leaving the town hall up for last, right? And there's so much stuff around the town hall that are scary looking too, like Monolith, 2 single infernos, 2 expos, and the king, that I knew if I set my RC on the back end that she was gonna get wrecked. So I ended up coming with a clever fireball entry, I think. So look what I do here. Look at that. Perfect fireball setup. And I get the builder hut. And I damage the town hall. I get the monolith, and I get the expo. Now, I'm gonna do the log launcher trick again because the town hall is already low and there's like no builders on it. That king was something to watch out, but I have the headhunter. I added a Valk just for good measure. And it only took like, what, 3-4 logs? So those Teslas didn't really matter. Now this single was a bit annoying for my troops. I had to invest a lot of spells on it. But the queen was able to reach the single and was able to take it down. And these super minions actually pulled a poison, which is nice. And again, king for funneling, wall break him into there somewhere. All I need is my troops to go in the core, because you have a lot of bases nowadays that the core is just so open. That gives your troops just free reign. And again, spell management in the core. There's no rage tower, so it makes it easier. But yeah, pretty smooth sailing for the rest of the base. RC on the top side, so we're gonna survive till the end of the attack. And yeah, it's not a triple. Okay, 2 more attacks left for today. Now this base was pretty weird. Those 2 invises at the town hall. Now usually you'd want to log launcher to activate those invis towers, but I'll show y'all what happened when I tried it. Now the fireball is pretty obvious on this base. You can fireball the monolith to get the CC down as well. I could have fireballed the eagle as well, but I chose the monolith because the CC can be annoying sometimes, and the monolith just does the most damage out of anything in the base. So I did need 3 invis for this fireball, actually. And let me fast forward. Where did I send the warden? See, archers to test for Teslas. See, there were Teslas there that I would have otherwise not known about. So yeah, 3 invis to set up the perfect fireball. Now I could have gotten one of the multi-archer towers, but I ended up not thinking about it. So I left the queen pick aside here. She's gonna go left, it seems. Yep. And I ended up wall breaking the junction, so the troops get inside the base quickly. So, witches, lock launcher, and the king for funneling. So, everything ends up looking as planned, but I kind of forgot my druids here, so all my troops are low. I think one of them ended up dying. And, okay, so now you can kind of see the problem with the log launcher here. So the queen, because she has no other targets, she just goes forward into the blast and she dies in the poison. So that's a bit inconvenient. The king dies here after clearing out that one compartment because it's single. And my super witches beyond a wall. They finally end up back here. Now, I sent my RC on this side because I already cleared out most of the tests and stuff, and I thought that there would for sure be some more traps on this top side. This warden statue, the single inferno, is kind of scary. So I ended up sending my RC on the bottom side. But she ended up taking a lot of damage anyway, because all the traps were actually on this side. So, thing is, I hadn't used any of my rages yet. RC does end up pulling all the traps here, but I had the skelly, I had another rage, and I had a freeze. So the skelly still ended up coming in absolutely clutch here. I absolutely recommend using a skelly still with this army. You do not need a poison, because the super witches do splash damage anyway. You have the skelly spell. And the RC survives on 1 HP. And again, clears the rest of the base, and it's a triple. So, as I was saying about the lock launcher, I actually think I didn't need the lock launcher, because if I had jumped over here, then the witches had nowhere else to go. So they wouldn't have wandered off like root riders would do. They would just stay inside this compartment, and the lock launcher just wasn't really needed in my opinion. So, alright, one last attack. And this looks like another version of a very common box base that y'all might recognize. So the fireball value here looks insane. This ricochet cannon, you can get so much stuff with it. Now I ended up taking a pretty unconventional approach, I think. Now, yeah, a bit risky, but I had a spotter and he assured me that this fireball would make it with only 1 invis. I was about to send 2 and invis these 2 as well, but it ended up working. Look at all this value. I ended up getting this scatter shot as well, which I was not expecting. So I sent my witches from the bottom side for the town hall. Why would I do this? Again, it's the risk factor. It's the risk factor. This side is just safer because I knew that I would get to town hall early. The town hall wouldn't be the last building standing up. And I knew that the witches, all my troops didn't have to go into poison because of all these walls there. So I just jumped into the core. Again, the ice golem. Oh, it didn't freeze the monolith, but it ended up taking for a bit. So yeah, I didn't need to give my troops access to the town hall. And I sent my king from this side because I mean, I didn't need the king to go into the town hall, so I just sent him from that side to funnel. Now the singles were pretty annoying, but I had the skelly spell and the invis spells for it. Skelly spell does come in clutch because there are a lot of single infernos nowadays. Because people want to defend root riders. King breaks the wall. That's another reason why the gauntlet and rage combo is so good. And the rest of the base is pretty pretty easy now. RC just survives to the end. I have another freeze, and that was my last attack of the season. Now, you might be asking me why I'm not showing attacks on my main account, right? Because everything's leveled up and stuff. You would think that things would be easier on my main account, but it's not. It's at 60-20. It's actually very low right now, so. And I did end up failing an attack on that account today, which was unfortunate, but it is what it is. This count is the only one that matters. I'm at 5:04. Oh, that's so close. 5 minutes. Man, I don't think I'm making it. But either way, I'm happy with how I did. I am very happy with how I did this season. I ended up only using the Super Witches for like maybe a few days on this account, but I ended up going 320s all the way. So, I would not have this high of a finish without Super Witches. And I ended up doing it with level 23 Fireball. So it just shows you, you really don't need a max Fireball for this strat to work well. You just need to take out a freeze, or whatever. All you're getting is just one less spell to use. So yeah, I guess I'll update y'all with my rank, with my end of season rank at the end of this video. I'll be back in a few minutes, so I'll see y'all then. And there you go, guys. Rank number 494 with 0 seconds left in the season. I ended up barely squeaking it out. 6,096 trophies. So yeah, it was a pleasure doing Super Witch attacks. I think for next season, I want to try out the Mass Druid army. The one with like 14 druids or 11 or whatever that number is. Because it just looks way more simpler than Super Witches. I don't think I'm going to be able to swag as many spells, but I think consistency is all that matters, and it might be a balance of the power of Super Witches and there's no risk factor like in Fireball Root Riders. So I'm gonna try that out for y'all. Maybe make a few videos on it. If I don't like it, I'm gonna just upload more Super Witch videos because this army is working fine for me. And I think I averaged, on my main account, I averaged 314 for the season. I ended up averaging more than 7 triples a day, which I am very proud of. That's been my most successful offensive season thus far. Like, I've never had a better season on offense. But this season ended up getting all the luck and got some good defenses near the end of the season, so that's why it's just so high, you know? 495, whatever. It's top 500, that's all I care. So, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I'm gonna upload another video sharing some bases that did well for me in a few days, as I've previously mentioned. So if you've made it all the way here, thank you for showing so much support. My channel has passed 500 subscribers. It's crazy because I've literally never advertised my channel to anyone or anything. And people are just pouring in from YouTube recommendations and stuff. So again, thank y'all for all the support. Hopefully I can get a good finish on my main account next season. Again, top 200 is going to be the goal. So hope to see y'all then.